Hey there, Pod Pals. Are you a print-on-demand creator looking to stay ahead of the curve? You want to know exactly when to launch your designs for every key season and event? How about a chuckle with an extra dad joke to brighten your day? If you said yes to any of these, then it's time to join the Print on Demand Cast VIP list. As a VIP, you'll get our free annual design calendar, an amazing guide to help you time your creations perfectly throughout the year. And of course, we'll include a bonus dad joke each week as well. Signing up couldn't be easier. Just visit printondemandcast.com/VIP and enter your email. Don't let another day of potential pass you by. Become a part of the VIP list, grab your annual design calendar, and let's dive into a year of inspired creating together. We'll see you on the other side.
Welcome back to the Print on Demand Cast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about fixing the money problems in your print on demand business. Let's get into it.
Radical! Welcome to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. Each week, join the gnarly Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print on demand industry and equip you with the totally tubular tools, advice, and strategies you need to achieve success and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now on to this week's Totally Tubular show.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Print on Demand Cast. It is great to be back with you again this week, and joining me, as always, is Travis Ross from Make Your Mark Design. Travis, happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday as we're recording this. How's things? How's things going there in Make Your Mark Design world? And how have you been? How's your week?
All right. Went backpacking this last weekend. Up in the high country. Had a real good time. There was like 6 of us that went up, and nice. I'm still sore because we went, it was 5 miles in and like 2,500 feet of elevation gain.
Oh my God.
And then while we were up there, we did one of those I think we're close enough. We could probably summit that, and, and so we just did some, extracurricular hikes the second day, and then coming back down was rough because I had poles and everything, but you strap on 40-50 pounds of extra weight and you're going downhill, and it was steep. So my legs and my glutes are still feeling it, but man, it was beautiful. We had great weather and there was no fire ban, so we got to have a fire, and that's always important, I think, when you're backpacking or camping, that you can actually have a fire. It's just so much more fun. So, that was my weekend, and then trying to get back into things. Yesterday was kind of a blur, just because I missed last Friday, and trying to catch up. Still got some orders coming in, and have some things to do. Was trying to get to that today, didn't, so it'll probably have to be tomorrow. Remember, we talked about procrastination a couple of weeks ago, so I'm just practicing.
Killing me, Smalls.
Yeah. How about you? How was your weekend?
It was good. Had some family. Went and visited my sister over the weekend. Family will be back in town this weekend as well. And then yesterday had our kind of final summer park hang with the young adult crew from our church, and every time that happens that we go to have one of these park hangs, there is a very lively game of kickball that emerges inevitably. So did that last night, so I'm a little sore too. I mean, we won 12-7, so it was a good time, but and other than that, important. Yeah, it is what's important, is to let everyone know that we won. And other than that, it's just smoky up here. There's a pretty big fire that's just east of or west of us, sorry. So you can see it out from the main road here in Loveland, Highway 34. You can see the mountain just billowing smoke. At night, you can see the flames that are actually, happening there. It's wild. So praying that we get some spontaneous moisture, or that they're able to contain that. But it's kind of a the big thing happening right now, at least up in northern Colorado. So other than that, things are well. Work's been good. Excited to get into what we have this week for the episode, fixing your money problems. I know everyone listening is like, hey, I have money problems. We're only talking about your print-on-demand business. That's the context. We can't fix all your money problems. This isn't a call-in Dave Ramsey show. This is just some advice about your print-on-demand business. But before we get to the serious part and talk about how to fix the money problems, we're going to do everyone's favorite segment with this week's Weekly Dad Joke.
Time for the Weekly Dad Joke.
All right, here we go. Here's this week's Weekly Dad Joke. Little piece of advice, some wisdom, I guess, a proverb of sorts that you can pass on to future generations. If you give a man a plane ticket, he flies for the day. But if you push him out of the plane at 3,000 feet, he'll fly for the rest of his life.
Very true.
Yeah, it's very
If
true.
you're offended by that joke, I completely agree.
So moving on, be sure to use that one because those are my favorites where you can set it up like it's an actual piece of advice. And people are like, oh, okay, you have like a proverb for us or a piece of wisdom. And then you hit them with the punchline and everyone's mad because you've wasted their time and you're laughing because you knew it was going to happen the entire time. So enjoy that. Enjoy that. Use it. Let us know how it goes. We're going to go ahead and just move straight into this week's point of interest.
Well, howdy, partner. Welcome to the Point of Interest part of the POD cast. So grab your hat and hold on tight because we got some learning to do.
All right. So something kind of cool did you discover this, Travis? Tell us how we found out about what we're going to show the people here in terms of what it is, how you found it, and then we'll just give a little bit of a demo.
Yeah, it was actually a Instagram account that followed us, and I was kind of looking at their profile, and they actually have a website, and they do print on demand, but like kind of unique products. They do a lot of like wooden not signs really, more like cutouts and really cool stuff. So we'll obviously link to this company in the show notes, but while I was looking through this whole website, I saw that they had, a little thing at the bottom somewhere that said free tools. And this particular tool said it was an AI product description creator. I was like, what is that? And so I opened it up. Mean? Yeah. Opened it up, played around with it. And Josiah is going to demonstrate kind of what it does and how you can use it potentially in your print on demand business. Yeah.
So here you see what Travis is talking about here with the page here. And then what you do is if you go to Amazon.com, you can just type in, like I typed in, funny men's shirt. And so this is what I'm going to use as an example. Synonym rolls, just like grandma used to make. And so what you do is you...
Great. I like that a lot.
So then you come and you right click here, and you can't really see the right click, I'm realizing, on the screen share, which is unfortunate. But when you right click on the image, you should see copy image address. And that's what you're going to want to select when you come over this image here. And then you can go back to distro. And then you're going to paste that image right there. And you can see it pulls the image that was on the Amazon listing. And you just hit generate description. And through the wonderful technology known as AI or Apple Intelligence, if you want to use another weird name, here you go. You have your description here. So obviously this could be wildly helpful for your listing and getting a good description. So, upgrade your casual wardrobe with its witty and stylish cinnamon rolls graphic t-shirt. This unique shirt features delightful cinnamon roll image. So you can kind of see, and you can edit that as well. You can hit this copy button and you can copy it to a Word doc or a Google doc or whatever kind of document you want to use that you can then go and refine and edit that. And so you don't have to worry about not being able to change any of the verbiage or tweaking it how you like. But it's nice. It has the product details, the color, the style, the fit, the sizes. So it does a lot of good work for you, and it's a good foundation to kind of build off of when you're talking about your listings.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously not going to be perfect right out of the box. It has a lot of things on there with like sizes and colors, and maybe you have different colors, or maybe you know, that's not the place that you put your sizes or whatever. It's definitely going to take some editing, but it, you know, for me, I despise looking at a blank page. And so this gives me something to start with. Now, you might be saying, well, my product isn't on Amazon. How do I get the link? Well, if you have your product on something, you know, maybe it's you just want to go through and like update some of your existing listings. So you've got them on Etsy. Find the URL that Etsy is using to display that particular image and copy that. That's the URL that you can then put into that tool, and it'll spit out, you know, whatever it spits out. And maybe you don't even change anything in your listing. You just kind of add that, because I've seen it a million times. People don't use all of the allowed number of characters in their descriptions. And so don't just do that and like copy and paste, like I was saying. Actually look at it, because first of all, you don't want to, I don't know that this has any trademark check, you know, at all in it. So you don't want to violate any of that. But beyond that, it might have some incorrect information because it's AI and it's just literally looking at a picture. So it might not quite translate. This particular shirt that Josiah did had text on it, and it was able to read that text, which is, by the way, really freaking cool, because even 6 months ago, or, you know, a year ago, it couldn't do that. So now it's at least becoming a lot better at that. And so, but if your product doesn't have any text on it, AI might not be able to interpret what it is, especially if it's like a pun or something, you know, like I remember we had, I think we both had a version of a chicken, you know, with an arrow pointing to the butt, and it was like, "What's up, chicken butt?" or what was it?
Yeah, no, I think that "What's up, chicken butt?"
Chicken butt.
What's
I don't.
was that?
What's that phrase? I can't think of it.
Yeah, it's a good question, but I remember the design because we both did have that design.
It was. Oh, and there was another one that was like a chicken inside of a pot with the pie symbol on it, and it was chicken pot pie. That was another one. You know, so I don't know how good this particular product or this description generator will do with images versus text, but, you know, give it a try, see what it puts out. Again, it's better than just looking at a blank screen, and it might give you some keywords in your description that you didn't have before. Or if you're using it to create listings, you know, kind of from the start, you know, you can, again, it's better than just starting with a blank page. Definitely put your own spin on it and insert your keywords in there, but really cool tool. And shout out to, what's their name? DistroMade. Yeah, it's distromade.com. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a free tool section and you'll see the link there. But yeah, they also have really cool, you didn't show it, but they've got some really, do you still have that up, Josiah? Because they have some really cool like products that they do. If you click the browse products at the top right, they've got like these mountains and bears and unicorns, and you can get them in different colors, and then you can sell them for like $100 and maybe it costs you 50 or something, and they'll make one at a time, you know, and they're constantly adding thing. That treble clef wasn't there the last time I was here, which is kind of cool with the guitar there. I don't think that was here. So cool little shout out to DistroMade. Thanks for making that tool available, and maybe you guys can check it out and see if it'll help you in creating your product descriptions.
Absolutely. And also, for those that are wondering what that design was, it was Guess What Chicken Butt.
That's
not What's
the
Up.
one.
So that's why. Quick Google search or Amazon search, found shirts that are have that same design, and it's astonishing to me that we sold as many of those as we did on coffee mugs, because who the hell wants that? But hey, happy they did, because it worked out for everybody. So with that being said, we're going to move on to this week's main event.
We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Will Haywood, and I host a podcast called All Business, No Boundaries, where we talk about supply chains, how they work, what happens when they don't, and the innovations that are redefining what's possible in the world of logistics. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
On a cold, dreary night in September of 2020, Travis Ross and Josiah Cifuentes created the Print on Demand cast. This is the main event.
All right, the main event is fixing the money problems in your POD business. And Travis, this is important because you need to know, are you making money? That's the question. Are you making money? And if you weren't, how would you know? Would you know that you're not making money? How do you avoid the end of the year looking back and being like, the hell, I broke even, or not even that? So like you need to know what those numbers are. And we talk about that a lot, is knowing your numbers, knowing your margins. And we want to assist you in the endeavor to know how to fix the money problems in your POD business, as we've determined that making money is better. Listen to this, write this down. This one's free. Is better than not making money. So go figure, you know?
Yeah.
Just in the notes.
You're liking my notes, aren't you?
Yeah, it was great. In fact, 4 out of 5 dentists agree. I always want to know who the 5th one is. It's just like, no, on everything. I just, in my mind, it's the same guy. They're like, what about this Colgate? Niet. I'm like, okay, he said no. That's 9 out of 10. I don't know why he's Russian. Well, I know why he's Russian, because I feel like that would be the guy that would say no. But anyway, 4 out of the 5 of the dentists agree that making money is better than not making money. But if you've been to the dentist, you understand that they all think that making money is way more important. So it's probably True. 5 out of 5. Okay, so to make more money in your POD business, Travis, there's a couple things, a few ways you can do that. Really only a few ways. We can kind of dig into the details. But it's sell more stuff, sell higher price stuff, and spend less on other stuff. So basically, it comes down to either increasing what's coming in or decreasing what's going out. So let's talk a little bit about how we do that. What's that look like practically in order to fix the money problems?
Yeah. There really is only those 3 ways. So you either sell more, sell for more, or spend less. So the first one on our little list here is consider selling higher ticket items. And we just showed you over, it's on my other monitor, that's why I'm looking over here, but DistroMade, those signs, those wooden signs, you can sell them depending on the size, anywhere from like $40 to $120, yeah, exactly. So what do you think yes, you can make money on t-shirts, and a lot of people are going to buy t-shirts, and probably fewer people are going to buy a bear, a wooden bear to hang on their wall. But when that bear sells, likely going to make a lot more money, than that $20 t-shirt, or $25 or whatever you've got it priced at. Maybe you make 10 or 15 bucks, depending on, what platform you're on and who your print vendor is, et cetera, but maybe you make 50 or 60 bucks with that bear or that mountain or that treble clef that, was new on their site. So there's a thing called average cart value and in retail. And if you know anything about it, marketers are always trying to up their average cart value, because so if they sell a bunch of stuff and it's always $20, and nobody buys more than one thing, or maybe only a few people do, maybe their average cart value over the course of a month is like $22. But you contrast that to the person selling these, these wooden signs or whatever product, insert product here, wall art or whatever. And their average cart value might be more like 80 or 90 bucks, And so we're trying to raise that cart value because that's where you can make better margins. You also have to sell less of the thing, in order to make the same amount of money. It's like the guy who sells, hamburgers. McDonald's is probably a bad idea because they sell a lot of them, versus the guy who sells airplanes. How many airplanes do you need to sell to do
How
okay
many,
for the
yeah. How many cheeseburgers do you have to sell in order to be, where you're at if you sell one airplane?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's really cool. So there's a lot of different ways you can, raise that average cart value. And let's give them a couple, Josiah.
Yeah. So you see this all the time, and I'm a sucker for it as well. When you see websites where you're shopping and they say, spend $60, $40, whatever that dollar amount is for free shipping. And I've often, what you don't realize is it's $40 for shipping. And I'm like, I'm good. And you put one shirt in the cart and you hit the checkout button and your total is like $32 with tax. And you're like, well, hell, I'm spending more dollars to get free shipping. Why not? It happens all the time. But that's a way that you can get people to increase that average cart value. Another thing you can do is cross. Go ahead.
I was just going to say on my Etsy store, was it my Etsy store? No, in my Shopify store, I have a buy. I think it's you get free shipping if you spend $40, and the t-shirts that we're selling are like $19.99. So that's going to add up to $39.98. And so a lot of people would be like, okay, I got 2 shirts and I'm just going to pay the shipping. And that's fine because I profit on the shipping as well. Or they're going to buy a 3rd shirt to get free shipping. And so my average cart value obviously goes up. So you can kind of play with those numbers and see where it makes sense. I mean, maybe somebody buys a sticker pack to get over there and it's only another $5 or something. But you get the idea. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. You're good. The other thing you can do is cross sell. When they're checking out or before they check out, give them a couple more items that they might want to consider with their purchase. Whether it's, I've seen a lot of places do, you buy a t-shirt and they suggest maybe a hat with that same design on it, or a hat that would look good with that shirt, or stickers or whatever, that they're just trying to cross sell and get a multi-item sale done. So that's another way you can do that as well. And then you can also use good, better, best options to upsell the customers. I know on some t-shirt sites, the good is like a Gildan 64,000, and the better is a level up or try, a Bella canvas 100% cotton. Then the best is a tri blend, and the prices reflect congruently. And so it's like the better quality. And that's some other things you can do to try and to raise that cart value as well.
Yeah. With that whole, the idea of cross-selling is, you see it all over the place. And in fact, in Shopify, in a lot of their themes, it's automatically baked in. You can on the product page that you're building out, there'll be a, button. Do you want to recommend other products? If so, what are the SKUs? And you just put the SKU of that other product and it'll put it right there. It'll bring in all of the, the pictures and all the titles and everything else. And it'll be right there at the bottom. And so it makes it really easy to cross sell, because Shopify is incredible at converting sales, and they know the power of the cross sell. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that if you are on Shopify, you probably already have the ability to do this pretty easily if you have a few products already built out.
Sure.
And but don't just willy-nilly throw whatever. I mean, make sure that it's like, if you like this, then you probably will like this too. Actually put your best foot forward. Don't just randomize it and cross your fingers and hope for the best.
Absolutely. So another way you can decrease what's going out is, decrease what's going out. It's to negotiate with print vendors for better pricing. We've talked about this before in the show, in negotiating the cost per garment, or what that looks like, what that could look like, what that picture or what that scenario could be with that vendor, and talk to multiple vendors, shop, see which ones are going to be best for you, which will fit for you. I know when we had What For Apparel, it was, we used TSC apparel for our vendor, because they were local, they were close, and that was a huge part of it, is they had a place where we could go if all else fails. And then the shipping was, next day, if not 2 days, because of the distribution centers were so close. And so all of those things factor into what vendor you want to use, but also, and probably more importantly, is the price that they're going to give you, or the price break that they're willing to give you at a certain point. And there's nothing wrong with using more than one vendor. I know, Travis, you've used more than one vendor on your stores, or just to supply your inventory. It's okay to use both.
Yeah. I mean, my story from when we shut down our physical location for Make Your Mark Design and outsourced our production, I talked to Printify. I talked to a couple, I can't remember. There was another one that I talked to. They wanted way too much volume. I wasn't able to even meet their minimums. And then I ended up talking to Guten, and I was basically just, for lack of a better term, playing them off each other and saying, well, Printify says I can get it for this, and Guten says I can get it for this. And I'm trying to see who's going to give me the best deal on the different products. And since then, I've even added a third vendor that I use for certain products, and because they have a better price on the Comfort Color 1717, which is a very popular garment right now. And you've probably seen it on Etsy. If you're selling apparel, you probably know what the 1717 is. So, so I use a different vendor for that because I have a better price. So there's nothing wrong with using multiple vendors and trying to get the best deal. In the end, for me, Guten really rolled out the red carpet, and I use them for most of my stuff except for that 1717. And then they do have some other products that I'm kind of chomping at the bit to launch, but baby steps.
Yeah. So the next thing you can do that we have here on our list is to minimize returns. Again, something that we've chatted about, throughout the life of the show, which, by the way, just a quick tangent. Next week is episode 208, which means next week is 4 years that this show has been going on, which is crazy. So another milestone episode next week for the Print on Demand cast, episode 208. So all that to say, we've talked about minimizing returns a lot in the last almost 4 years, and ways you can do that in different episodes throughout in the archives. But things you can do to minimize that is clearly describe the product. I think probably if you were to take a poll, or if there were a percentage, I would imagine that the majority of returns happen just because what they thought they were buying was not what ended up in their hand. And it's really easy to mitigate that with a very clear description in the listing. Travis, do you have any kind of pointers on how to make sure that listings are as accurate as possible? Because the other thing is too, that the other kind of variable is assuming that people will read the description. But even if they don't read the description and your description's on point, you have at least something to point back to. So then it becomes a preventative and a CYA. So it's like, hey, it said that in the description, you just didn't read it. So then the customer isn't right in that instance, and you have a little bit of leverage in that conversation. But what else can they do, Travis, in terms of minimizing returns? Yeah,
I have so many stories, and I'm sure anybody in e-commerce has a million stories about the customers just completely blown by the descriptions. And I get people all the time. They're like, I thought this coffee mug would be bigger, and I'm like, and this is actually a tip for you. If you can, illustrate it with your pictures, illustrate the different sizes, illustrate the fit with sizes, or like a really great sizing chart with, a picture and like, all of the bullet point details and how big and how wide and all of that stuff as much as you can with pictures, because let's face it, guys, people are dumb sometimes, or they just don't, they're looking on the phone, it's small, and remember that they are looking on their phone. So try to make it bigger. But in the case of, I sell an 11-ounce mug and a 15-ounce mug, and I literally have on all of my listings a picture of like from chin to, she's just holding to my wife. It's a picture of my wife. She's holding one mug that says 11 ounce and the other one says 15 ounce. And they're it's like a really, really big picture. It's obvious. It's like the third or fourth shot, and it's on every single coffee mug listing. And so whenever I get, oh, I thought it was going to be bigger, I'm like, you are blind and an idiot, and you're going to have that regardless of what you do. However, I don't know how many sales I have made or haven't made because of that picture, because those didn't get returned, so I'm sure that it has contributed to my bottom line by having that picture. So again, my advice is just illustrate it with a picture if you can, and beyond that, be very detailed on your return policy. Thankfully, Etsy still allows you to have one. Amazon, it's like, well, they just, they didn't want it. So they just pack it back up, send it back. They don't have to have a reason. You changed my mind, and you have to eat it. And you have to eat the shipping on the way back to you too. At least on Etsy, they still allow you to, maybe recoup some of that, or at least negotiate with that buyer. And sometimes it's not worth the time or the hassle to, save the $5 or whatever. But sometimes you want to have a win,
Yes.
So you just want to push a little bit more for that $5.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's other things too that you could do.
Sometimes it's that small win is what will keep you going for the day. Even if it's a $5 win, it will it'll definitely help with that. Travis, anything else on the minimizing returns strategy or tip, I guess?
Yeah. If you use models for your product, I mean, this kind of goes back to the images, but maybe consider doing a video with them actually wearing it and kind of moving, so people can see a different body type, in the actual garment, if it's a garment. Same thing with like social proof, getting pictures from your customers, from people who have bought. Try to incentivize them to send in pictures of them wearing it, because again, you get people to see someone else in it. It not only the personalization, or the personal connection that you have when you see a person versus just a flat lay mock-up, that's important. But also you're showing, oh, okay, I see how it fits on this type of person, this type of body, and my body type is similar, so I know now how it's going to fit. Or I see them using that coffee mug, and I know how big it is, based on that image. And I couldn't obviously see it in the other picture when it says 11 ounce and 15 ounce, but I digress.
Yeah. Awesome. Moving on here, outsourcing administrative tasks. If this sounds familiar, dear listeners, because 3 episodes ago, we talked about hiring your first VA, episode 204 in the archives. Be sure to go back and listen to that if you have more questions after we kind of talk about, what it is to outsource administrative tasks. So the whole key to this point is the principle of freeing up your time to work on your business and not in your business. When you're working in your business, you can't really see the forest through the trees. When you're working on your business, you have a little bit of a chance to have a little bit higher kind of perspective of what's happening and things that you want to be able to be working on, instead of being kind of stuck in the grind of the day to day. So there's lots of things you can do, a lot of repetitive tasks, logistic tasks that you can have outsourced, and VAs are a great way to do that. Stuff like bookkeeping. I hate bookkeeping. I would not. I would rather probably, get 1,000 paper cuts than have to actually think about doing bookkeeping. But there are VAs. There are people you can outsource with. Not even VAs overseas. And I guess that's something too. Sometimes I know when I was first starting, when I'd hear VA, my mind automatically thought that it was someone overseas. Because that was so much of what I was ingrained to think in the beginning. I've got a VA, they're in the Philippines. I've got a VA, they're in blah, blah, blah. I got a VA. And it was never just, someone stateside. It's just a virtual assistant. It's an employee that is working remotely on your business, that's not physically there present. They can be anywhere. They can be anybody that or that you hire to do these tasks. So bookkeeping is one of them. Design creation is another one, Travis. I know that you and I have utilized VAs a lot for design creation as well. What other tasks or administrative tasks could possibly be outsourced to a VA?
I think listing creation is a huge one. No matter what platform you're on, you have to create listings, and a lot of the listing creation process is kind of a rinse and repeat. It's the same thing over and over. You have to create all the mock-ups. You have to, you have to upload them to whatever, or you have to create a title and keywords, and you have to research keywords and figure out what people are searching for, and maybe use a tool. And so a lot of that stuff can be outsourced to a virtual assistant. And maybe you don't want to have them touching your Etsy store or touching your Merch by Amazon account or whatever. And that's totally fine. They can always just put that stuff on a spreadsheet for you to then go copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And it's all done already for you. So that is one way to kind of get around that fear that you might have of having, somebody who you don't know touch your accounts. Although I will say that in my experience, the VAs that we have used are incredibly trustworthy and absolutely incredible. And in fact, here's a kind of a bonus tip. There's a Chrome extension called LastPass, and maybe many of you already use this, but I think I pay maybe $10 or $20 a year for that. And it's on my phone. It's in all of my computers. I log in with one password, and I can save all of my passwords. And the bonus thing is I can share my password to another person that also has LastPass to their account, and I can hide my password from it. And so I can, that's how I do it with my virtual assistants. I share the login credentials, but they never see the password. And then if anyone ever, came onto my team, which I've had to let people go in the past. And when I do, I just remove them from my LastPass, and it immediately revokes their access to seeing any of the sites or obviously any of the passwords. And they couldn't have written it down because they never saw it in the first place. Right. So that's one way to mitigate that. So that's listing creation. Of course, customer service, you get the same questions all the time, write some templates out, give them to them. That's another, you could add that task to listing creation if you wanted to, or to, I don't know if you'd want a bookkeeper doing customer service. It sounds like those are probably two different people, but you get the idea. Yeah. You can have these VAs doing multiple things for you, again, to set yourself free to work on your business and not in your business. If you've ever read E-Myth by Michael Gerber, it's a great illustration. It's one of the most, highly read book, or most highly touted books in the business category. And it's all about why most businesses fail. And it's because the guy who has the idea for creating this business does all the work, and they never get out of the way, and they're always working in their business, and they never have a chance to work on it. And so that's the whole reason we have been banging this drum on virtual assistants for weeks now. Because it really eventually will burn you out. And your business will probably fail if you can't figure out a way to work on your business and not in it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So moving on to our next item, analyze your advertising expenses. And this is going to require you to get a little more granular into the reports that you run. So for example, you might be spending money on a phrase that doesn't even describe your product. You're going to want to get rid of that. It's not doing you any good. It's just literally a hole in your ship that's you're hemorrhaging. You're bringing on water. You want to stop that. And so, Travis, explain a little bit about, we're going to get into some ROAS talk here just briefly. So explain what ROAS is and what it can do to help them kind of give deeper analytics to their advertising.
Yeah. Before we do that, I just want to touch on that. Spending money on a phrase that doesn't even describe your product. Different channels are going to have different feature sets and different access to what that platform is actually putting in front of people, or what they are able to put in front of people. Specifically on Amazon, you can run reports and see which keyword phrases are actually showing up for your or leading to clicks on your product. And so I was selling for a long time, we had a line of cupcake stands, and you remember the cupcake stands. I still have some right there.
Sure
I can
do.
see returns. But yeah, it was a private label product that we created a box and, basically imported these cupcake stands, and they sold really well. And when I would obviously advertise to these cupcake stands specifically on Amazon. And when I download a report, I would see all of these different search terms, and I would see pink cupcake stand, gold cupcake stand, black cupcake stand, and different. And I'm like, mine are white. Why am I average? So I was able to go in to that campaign and write what's called a negative keyword. And so, in other words, when anybody types in pink cupcake stand or pink cup or pink cake stand or pink anything, I didn't want to waste my money showing up for somebody who's searching for something that doesn't match my product. So fast forward that to print on demand days, and I was only selling white coffee mugs, but I was noticing that people were searching for black coffee mugs with like a phrase on it, or black nurse coffee mug, or black whatever. And I was like, okay, I don't want to. I'm selling a white coffee mug. I don't have now. Nowadays I have black mugs that we actually do sell, but those are in a different campaign. So I would knock out the word white in those. So you see how I'm saying? So I mean, color is one. That's a real kind of easy way to understand that. But there are so many other keywords that you might be ranking for, might be getting clicks for, might be paying for clicks that don't represent your product at all. And so you really got to get granular in those reports. So I know I really beat the crap out of that dead horse, but you were asking about ROAS.
Yep.
Yeah. So ROAS.
Go ahead.
ROAS is a return on ad spend. It's an acronym for return on. So it's how much money you're making on how much you're spending, and it's a percentage. And I can't be bothered to do math, but you're trying to basically get a return on your investment. And there is a place that you can figure out with math that you have a break even. And if your ROAS dips below that, if your return on that ad spend dips below that, you're actually not making any money. You might see money coming in and you're like, yay, I'm making money. But then you got to pay for your vendor to make that product. And then you got to pay for the shipping. And once you back all those costs out and you add it to and then you add your advertising in, all of a sudden you're paying people to buy your products.
Yeah.
And that is a leaky boat that will sink. So don't go in that boat. Figure out what that break-even point is. And if you see your ROAS dip, figure out, eliminate some of those keywords that are driving the price up. You're spending more money on keywords that aren't relevant, or quit the campaign, man. Don't continue to feed that leaky boat. And you're gonna feed a
leaky boat. Huh?
That sounds like the beginning of a dad joke or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. It probably is. We just haven't found it yet. Haven't got there yet. Exactly. And the last thing we have here is utilize automation. So say on the front end here that this automation, tools like DistroMade from the point of interest to help with listings. The point is, the more you automate, the more that you can scale. And there's a lot of platforms and softwares that can help with this. So like bulk mockup generator is one that Travis, you and I both have used to create hundreds of mockups in 10, 15 minutes, as opposed to individually having to make them through another resource. This one just spits them out. And so time is money. Great. And the amount of time you can spend less amount of time you can spend doing stuff like that and finding softwares to help expedite and automate, the better it is. You'll have more time to work on your business. So using automation is enabling you to scale is what working on your business essentially looks like practically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one way for sure. I mean, the bottom line with AI, it's only growing. I mean, Chat GPT, I believe like 5.0 is getting ready to come out, and I mean 4.0 was like light years ahead of 3.5, and what is it, 4.5 E or C or T or D? I don't know what it is. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Chat 4.0 is one of them, and then there's so there's GPT-4, and then there's GPT-4o, and then there's 4.0 mini, and 5 is about to come out, and each one of these like blow the previous generation out of the water. I mean, you can code a freaking website that is absolutely incredible and has amazing functionality through Chat GPT. You can there's just so many things you can do. I know there's a Google Sheet plugin that you can actually create hundreds of titles in minutes, and you say this plus this, put these together, and then also answer this prompt, and give me all of my keywords for these things, and it just, and it spits them out, and that's just the beginning of what we're going to see. So, get on this AI bus, or you're going to get left behind.
You'll get left behind because it's only going to grow. It's only going to get more crazy, not just in print on demand, just in every facet of life. AI is going to do some really crazy things. It's really cool to be leveraged to help your business. It's a little disconcerting in other facets of pop culture that you're seeing it everywhere. It's wild to see what it can do. So that kind of wraps up our list here for this episode and this main event. Travis, anything else you want to touch on in regards to fixing the money problems in a POD business before we hit the outro?
I think we pretty much said it all. I mean, there's really, you either have to increase your revenue or decrease your expenditures. Those are really the only two ways to kind of fix the money problems. And so there's a lot of ways to handle that or to go at that. I mean, one way you could go at that is ask Chat GPT, what are some good ways to either save money or make more money? And maybe you'll come up with something. Maybe Chat GPT will be the impetus for you to, make $100,000 in profit this year, or make your first 10 sales or whatever that goal is that seems elusive right now. It's not as elusive as you think. And there's a lot of help out there to get you kind of over that hump and to those goals. So don't give up, be encouraged. And I don't know. I don't have a third one. You usually need a third one.
Yeah, you got to round it out. I think it's just kind of like a law. Law of threes. I mean, think about that one. And maybe that's how we'll start next week's episode, is you just saying that third thing. I just completely out of context to the new people who have no idea what this last episode was about. You just go from there. So, but thank you guys so much for listening. Again, episode 208 will be coming at you next week. It's the 4-year anniversary for the show. Don't know what that means for a format. We did a 200th episode special shindig, 8 weeks ago now, about 2 months ago. So who knows? Maybe we'll do something special. Maybe it will just be another show and we'll just reference it, and it'll just be what it is. But nonetheless, 4 years is nuts. So episode 208 coming at you next week. In the meantime, though, what you can do is you can go to printondemandcast.com/VIP to sign up for the newsletter that we send out every single week. It's got tips, tricks, tidbits, advice, an extra dad joke, and just things that you might not hear on the show, or diving deeper on topics that we do mention on the show. But it's a good way to know and be up to date. Everything Print on Demand Cast wise is to go to printondemandcast.com/VIP. And of course, you will get a design calendar in exchange for your email, which will help you kind of forecast for the upcoming holidays, keep things on track. You can have your VAs use it to know what they should be looking for, designing for. It's just a really good tool to make sure that you're prepared, that you're ahead of the game, and you're preemptive and not reactive. Yes, that.
Nice.
So, Travis, anything else before do you have a third one? I was trying to maybe buy some time.
I don't even remember what I said 5 minutes ago.
So you get nothing.
All right. Well, there's that. But we're looking forward to being with you guys next week. And until then, for Travis, I'm Josiah. We'll see you right here on the Print on Demand cast.
See ya.
Hey, babe. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you've got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.
In a world where businesses everywhere are trying to make print-on-demand sales, one podcast goes above and beyond every week to bring the most POD-specific information there is, all to help save the day, every day. Don't succumb to the enemies of your print-on-demand business. Sign up today for the Print on Demand Cast VIP email at printondemandcast.com/VIP. This time, it's for real.